as well. For what lies ahead.
Konnichiwa, fellow fighters, and welcome to a fast and ferocious first contact analysis of Street Fighter V on the PS4. A title that is rooted into video games history. The Colossal series from Capcom has spanned more generations of gaming than nearly all others, across platform from its arcade roots, but the series as we know it and love it came to be with the second entry. The true version for all home players outside of the arcade had to be the SNES release, timed exclusive to the machine on the console platform at least, as the Amiga and other releases were all handled outside and are best forgotten. This was all before the Mega Drive or Genesis Championship Edition launched later anyway. Many have imitated that fighter that brought in combos, special moves and a real variety in characters both physically and practically, meaning we all picked our own favourites, with fans from Ryu, Chun-Li, Ken, Delshin among others. Its impact on the fighting genre was immense. And it returns in a new shiny dressing and yet again limited to certain platforms, with this time Microsoft being the shunned party in this reunion of biceps, blood, tears, tights, hair and Hadoukens, all being presented on the PS4 and PC from Capcom. But not all things are the same, as the game is no longer running under one of Capcom's own engines, and instead highlighting the cost, production and power of modern off-the-shelf engines, is all being created using Epic's latest Unreal 4 engine, as it adds another large-scale game to its ever-growing bow. Now, first impressions are pretty good, with the game's native 1080 display on this PS4 version and all running at 60 FPS that really helps you control such a fast-paced fighter that relies heavily on timing, constructing button combinations into seamless flurries of arm, legs and powers. The game has had a large shift from its far more complicated previous installments, and tricks like plinking have now been removed, and the game has been targeted from its designer Yoshinori Ono's main intentions to simplify it and take it back to a core aspect, with less reliance on streaming together undefendable attacks, and allow as much skill but far more balanced yin and yang approach to proceedings. Now, I will cover this in far more detail with a full look at the game and its launching 16-deep roster of fighters, with many favourites returning, but even though Blanca has attended nearly all public outings of the game and its creator, he is at present not amongst the early cast list, with 4 new ones making the early grade. With characters being added throughout 2016 and beyond, 6 are planned to hit this year. These, along with other DLC content, can either be bought with good old-fashioned digital number transfer or hard-earned in-game fighting currency. Now, animation and design is a vital part of a fighter, with pre-game trash talk giving the engine a chance to show off the artistic talent from Capcom that manages to feel instantly familiar but pleasingly new all at the same time. Now, keyframe count is high, with natural motion as they line up ready to fight or recover from a well-executed kick on both sides. The blending of animation sets well with that distinct Japanese bright anime style, but slightly more western in its more Herculean muscle tone. That epic influence must be rubbing off, as Marcus Phoenix could pop up, well, if it was on a Microsoft machine anyway. But the picture is not all rosy on the visual front, and how Capcom have used the Unreal Engine 4 in some big boy and girl battles. Now, although the main characters are very well realised and much attention has gone into the design, costumes and fluidity of movement, they have not paid as much attention to the arenas. Backgrounds lack detail as much as vertices and shadows, with areas ranging from okay to poor, with very simple shading, poor contact shadows or none at all. In fact, some of the colour grading is very bad and does end up looking like characters stand out from the background like a sticker on a foreground. In fact, shadows in the game are low quality for the main characters and regularly suspicious by their absence in some of the background areas, which does not impress. And even though the game is more about the action than the art, quality in such a small space and only 2 characters, more attention would have been welcome here. It comes across more like a work in progress build than a final game, and this is present in the game's content at this point and other areas. For a fighter to only have 16 combatants would be fine, but the game only has an arcade mode, the story mode being very short indeed, and the animation at the start and throughout these sequences is not very impressive at all. Online is where many will spend the time, and I will cover that in more detail in my next video, along with its cross-platform play, so PC games can now tackle console gamers in some far-reaching fisticuffs, which is a benefit from its linked and exclusive development process. But at present, I've had absolutely no success in connecting to an online game, which doesn't bode well, but it has only been the first couple of hours of play. Now, performance can be a major pain in the arse. With a fighting game like this. But the single biggest factor in a fighting game, above all else, is consistency on input latency and performance overall. And this is where the game actually hands in a very solid performance. Now, it doesn't run the game without any dips at all, but from my tested scene so far and throughout play, I have not experienced any issues with that control side, and certainly there is no dips, as you can see with the on-screen metrics running before you, showing that the game in combat holds a completely smooth and solid 16.67 millisecond update without any issues at all. Now, there are a few dips in pre-game banter sections, usually by 1 frame, and at the end of the KO sections, but again, these are completely unnoticeable and they fall into the pause style of the game anyway, when it holds out for that Japanese anime style when you hit combat and the game ends. So you don't really notice these sections, and they're not really going to affect anyone's gameplay or enjoyment of what is a solid and changed beat 'em up. But unfortunately, the feeling cannot be shrugged that for a full price game as this is basically a £40 game. The content is incredibly light, and the story mode, like I say, feels so tacked on it's untrue. This game definitely needs far more content to beef it up to be worth that £40. And if I'm brutally honest, and I am a hardcore Street Fighter fan, it's not really worth the money. That's all I can say at this point. But if you can pick it up on PC, maybe you can get it for about 25 quid to 30 quid, and look out for cheaper deals on the PS4, because I don't think this is going to sell exceptionally well once word of mouth gets out with the content, or lack thereof. That said, it is very enjoyable if very short, but the online side will certainly be where people spend most of their time, so we'll have to see how that pans out, and whether or not there's enough here to make you jump on board the bus. Anyway, as always, I hope you guys and girls enjoyed this. If you did, please hit the like, subscribe, and of course check out more details on my website and my channel, and see what you guys and girls enjoy. Leave all your thoughts and feedback below. You take care, and I'll see you very soon on the next one.